So the big question is this: how these entrepreneurs who started from scratch and had no idea how to sell or market their products or services online and then later on made over 6 figures, 7 figures or even 8 figures became best in their niches and found their dream customers to sell. My name is RJ Ahmed and find this all out in our Interviews with Entrepreneurs show. I interviewed these entrepreneurs and tried to pick their brain of how they actually did that and how they took their business as well as their life to the next level. This podcast is all about the entrepreneurs who strive so hard to become super awesome in their niches. Welcome to Interviews with Entrepreneurs. Welcome to Interviews with Entrepreneurs show where we interview entrepreneurs who are super awesome in their niches. RJ here back again. And this interview is like all about JVs. And you know that I always talk about Dream 100, how to take out, get into the world of your influencers, have your first foot into their world, somehow manage to get it done. But once you get into their world, how you need to go and ask, okay? So often what happen is people just go into their world, they're trying to make connections out there, they're trying to create relations, but they just don't know how to do or how to ask for JVs and these type of stuff out there. So I have a friend out there who literally knows how to ask the Facebook group owners to do the JVs and get instant yes. Okay. But not instant. It's like do the process and make it work. So please welcome James Johnson. Hey man, what's up?
Hi, how you doing, RJ?
Awesome, man. What about you?
I'm doing good. I've been extremely busy with getting ready for this launch and just coming in the groups and providing some value, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, man. I'm so excited to have you today. So people like the people who are jumping on live, just use hashtag live. The people who are jumping on replay, just use hashtag replay out there. So like tell us a little bit about your backstory, like how you got started into the space and went into the JV side of stuff.
Okay. Well, I joined the One Funnel Away Challenge. I was January, February 2019, and it was the best $100 you could ever spend. Some of the greatest entrepreneurs I know are from that space, the ClickFunnels space. And in March and April last year, I had lost 3 friends in 4 months, and I wasn't online for a while. And then some of the people I met online, they were sending me messages saying, "James, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, what's going on?" And so then I got out of bed and I figured, you know what, I joined that challenge and I want to make this thing happen. And I started taking more action, and I started interviewing people. And it was, at first it's kind of scary because you don't know how to ask people, right? And what I did was I made it simple. I just reached out to the friends that I knew on Facebook and then the Messenger and stuff like that. And I said, "Listen, you want to come to my group and do an interview?" And yeah, sure. A lot of them, one was, I think it was my first interview was with Galen Nuttall, and I had met him in person just a few weeks before that. And because he's in Toronto, just like me, he's just a couple hours east. And so it was really easy. And then I can remember when I interviewed Doug Boughton for the first time. Doug was just doing his first time, his affiliate program, and it was in the summer. And I was up we rented a trailer. I'm in a cottage, and I had no access to the internet to promote this training. So I only had like one day to promote it. And all these people came into my Facebook group to watch the training. I had like 100 people that day just to see Doug's training. And we ended up doing it on my Facebook profile because I had way more friends and that on my profile than my group. I just started my group. So, but yeah, the power of interviews is fantastic. I later on launched my podcast with Jamie Atkinson, and what a marketing wizard he is. He helped me launch my podcast, the 26th spot. And that was last December. And that was fantastic. And I met so many entrepreneurs in that group, that Facebook group of Jamie's. Like, it's just for the people that come through his Profit Lab. And it's amazing the different collaborations and interviews and stuff that's happened just because being one program. And so then I launched, before I launched, I had a tragic accident in the family just before Christmas last year. And it kind of threw me through a loop. And I'm usually the guy that I'm usually like, out of my brother and my father and my mother and that, I'm the one that cries first. So, but for whatever reason, I wasn't crying. I was holding in my tears. And I knew I had a launch coming up in a couple of weeks, and I said, "Listen, I can't get emotional. This accident was horrible, but I got to launch. I got to do this thing." And I launched, and the launch was a flop. I had
Yeah.
good engagement in my group, but my offer was too similar to some other offers on the market, and that's what my two different coaches told me. And so anyways, I've been working on this new offer. I'm not presenting any offer today. I'm just going to show you some training, but for a very long time now. And I think it's really good because people need traffic, and it'll increase your entrepreneurial status. And when I launched my podcast, I wasn't really even thinking about my entrepreneurial status, right? And then when people seeing us doing this summit, there was a bunch of us podcasters at the same time. We did a summit, and they see the people involved in the summit, and they're like, wow, you're involved. You interviewed that person, like James Smiley. You interviewed Bailey Rickard. You interviewed Rachel S. Lee, Melissa Rickard. They say they see all these people you interview, and then they want to be on your show too. And RJ, it's the same thing with you, man. You see all your guests you've interviewed, right? So people are going to be reaching out to you, and it increases you that much higher. And you can provide, your traffic just gets bigger, like by the power of 10. And it's an amazing thing when it happens. And when you take action, I guess that's one of the biggest things I've learned in the past 2 years is when I was down and out, get up and start taking more action. And that's what you need to do. You need to take more action. I found in the past 2 weeks, because I've read Russell Brunson's books inside and out, and I'm getting great coaching from two different coaches, but I wasn't taking enough action because I was you get in your head and you start thinking about things and what if this and what if that. But then I've noticed this past 2 weeks, just diving in and do what I need to do, it just comes. It flows out of you. You don't need to think about anything. It just comes. And you just have to, set your mind aside and just do what you need to do and take those actions, because people get set on the sidelines, right? Thinking too much. And if, like, for instance, I'm launching tomorrow, my pop-up podcast, and I haven't installed the audio into the podcast yet. Like, I'm going to do a pop-up podcast in the morning for 3 days, and then Q&A in my Facebook group. But I've recorded only 2 out of 4 episodes. So it's in perfect action. It will get done. It's a time crunch, but that's what we do, right? As long as we get it done, it will get done. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about me. And then also the more thing, I guess, is last year, being in these different groups, like I was following Doug Boughton and Alex Elliott after I joined the One Funnel Away, and I seen them doing their thing, and they were recapping the OFA, and it was fantastic. And then I followed them. I keep following them, and then I joined Doug's beta program, and I joined Alex's One Group Away challenge. And at the time, last fall, I was also in Rachel S. Lee's ecosystem, traffic ecosystem program, and she did a joint venture with Alex. And Rachel's program, her Facebook group had 4,000 people, and she told Alex that this is the best joint venture she's ever done. And she's done many, but that was the best one she's ever done. Alex Elliott, I reached out to her the other day, and she said she probably made about $100,000 with Blake Newbar. Blake Newbar is a social media lead machine specialist. So I see all these different people. My coach, Jamie Atkinson, he did a joint venture with Alex and with Catherine Jones. And I'm thinking there's something to this, but no one's knowing. Like, it seems like, okay, so all these big name influencers are reaching out and doing it together. So what if you have an offer, but you need more traffic to it? Obviously, a joint venture is the way to go. How are you going to do that? So that's one thing I want to share today, because I think it's a lot easier than people think. So,
yeah. So, one of the most exciting about that you've mentioned about is, like, as you talked about Alex and Doug Boughton, I was also into part of their programs that they started to launch, and I truly remember when they were they started to promote their products or services out there. I was one of those guys who created the assets for them, for the affiliate products out there, for One Group Away, and also for Sales Funnel Master for Doug, just because I want to create that sort of connections out there. Mm-hmm. But as you talked about that thing, that if you notice that JV thing, that these big giants, at least into the marketplace, what they do is, anyone out there who come into the marketplace, start to launch a product, something like that, every other person goes into it and start to do JV with them, which Russell Brunson started to call Dream 100 Syndicate. I saw his YouTube video. He was talking about this exact same concept. The 5 people out there are into that particular circle or whatever the case is, and then if one person is going on and then they're moving on, the rest of the whole of the person out there start to promote their products, which was crazy. And
Yeah,
the thing that you were mentioning about is also super important, that people started to create relation or started to see how it's happening, but they just don't know how it happened,
that's right. Correct.
which
Yeah.
which is super awesome. And
Yeah.
guys, like if you don't know about it, like today James is gonna do the training with us, and he's gonna talk about how you can simply find those groups and these group owners out there, and then have them say yes to do the JP with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, James. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna give you the full screen,
Okay.
okay, and I'm handling the comments out there, and I'm gonna get back in once everything is gonna done, or if I
Okay.
have any questions with you.
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome, let's do it.
Okay. Thanks, RJ. And so everybody should know RJ is a great Dream 100 person. We see what he's done with his interviews, and now with his master classes. Dream 100 master classes is something. So I think everyone needs to have a Dream 100. I remember watching the funnel hacking live replays. I think it was 2016 or 2017, and Russell Brunson asked the group, the audience. He says, "How many people have a list? Have you done your Dream 100?" And he said like 19 people had their hands up out of, like, I don't know, it was like 2,000 people or something in the room. And he's like, guys, this is like the most important thing you can do is your Dream 100. And it's so true. Like, you think of all, like, it's like people get stuck in their head. That's what I'm saying. Like, why would I put Russell Brunson's name down on my list? He'll never do an interview with me. But I've seen that now with the Traffic Secrets book. People do all these affiliations contests, and they get on his radar, and then next thing you know, they're doing a Russell Brunson interview, right? So it's just a matter of time. So Facebook group ventures made easy. Step 1, how to find the groups that are compatible with your offer. You need to find the gaps that you can fill. So you can't, if you're selling cooking services, you're not going to go into another cooking services group, right? But you got to you get your Dream 100, you find your list, and then you got to go and see, okay, well, this person could use this. This is my offer. I build funnels. So I'm going to go into these entrepreneur groups and convince everybody, not convince, but show them what a funnel can do for their business, right? RJ is a Dream 100 guy, kind of. So he can go in and train on how to do Dream 100s, because people need to know how to do it, and they need more organic traffic. And raising your entrepreneurial status is so key. There's nothing to brag about. It's nothing to scratch your back about. It's just that when you can get higher levels of entrepreneurs to get on your show, whether it's podcasting, YouTubes, or Facebooks, or blogs, that just drives more traffic to you. So, and it doesn't even have to be a joint venture. You just start off with an interview, right? So you do your Dream 100. Even if it was Dream 50, I know there's a couple guys out there that they say Dream 22, pick 5. I know Dave Waldy, I talked to him a while back, and he says, James, if you could just pick 5 people in your space that you can help and they can help you, pick 5 and just go in their groups and give value. Like, you're not going to be in 100 different groups. I mean, we all have lots of Facebook groups, but you're going to concentrate on only a few, right? So, make friends with the administrators and the owners. In Facebook, so if you can make friends with the administrators and the owners and see when they post stuff, then you can get right on it and comment on it. Marley Jacks is an example. I get that group notification when she goes live. I'm one of the first people to comment on her stuff. Peng Jun, another one on his YouTube channel, one of the first people. And Stephen J. Larson, who said that in his one funnel away challenge trainings. He said before he worked for Russell Brunson, whenever Russell released his podcast or YouTube video, he'd be like, he was jogging around the track for military camp, and all of a sudden he would stop and see that Russell was releasing a new podcast or a new YouTube, and he'd be the first guy to leave a comment. So then what's that going to do for the entrepreneur? He's going to say, wow, look at this. This person's commenting is usually the first on all my shows. That's pretty interesting. And then do research on the owners. Watch their shows. I did a training in a gentleman's group, Eunice, in the OGAC group the other day, and he said, James, you pronounced my name perfectly. How'd you do that? I said, I listened to your podcast. Having my own podcast and seeing a whole bunch of different Facebook lives, we're all over the world, which is amazing, but we're not always going to pronounce names properly. So, getting to hear someone say their own name is key. It is difficult. Some names you do, certain parts of the world, your pronunciation's different. But if you can hear someone say their own name, then it's that much easier. It just helps. But get to know what they're doing, right? What they're selling, and then you can understand how you can fill their problems for their people more. So that's the key. Finding the dream 100, making friends with them, and then you can do research on it and fill the gaps. Make sure your offer is not competitive. It's comparative. So step 2, go in the groups that you found, give value to the group with value posts, inspirational pics with quick write-ups, comments back on other questions. Now, this is key. If you can go into a group and answer questions, then people will think, wow, you know your stuff. You're an expert. I remember when I first joined the ClickFunnels community group, there was it seemed like the same 10 people were answering questions all the time. And that was great. In the One Funnel Away challenge, that's the way it was too. Like with Doug Bowden and Alex Elliott, people would even say, listen, I know I did it after I joined Doug's program. I said, here, go message Doug Bowden, or I tagged Doug in the post, and people would come to him, because he knew the answers to that question, right? So that's one way. And then Alan Dean, he's done the same thing. He's always, I tease him when I interviewed him on my podcast. So do you ever put your phone down? Because you're always answering every question that comes up. So people will look at you as the expert. And then the group owner will say, look, this person knows their stuff, or this person's helping my people. And that's key, right? I mean, sometimes Facebook groups, and that's another reason why for the joint ventures, sometimes we can't, we're not consistent with our group, or, some people, they don't want to have a Facebook group. So this is why joint ventures is so key. Take their products and finish their products. And, Jamie Atkinson, who's a coach of mine, for instance, his podcast Profit Lab, he's had 200 people, I think, roughly leave or go through his program, and over 400 testimonials. I mean, that's more than two testimonials, right, per person, because it's that good. I mean, in different ways, they could write or they can do a video. So, you make that group owner look great by taking their program, do a write up on their program, how it worked for you, a quick video testimonial. It makes them look like a rock star, or a case study, and showing them, and then it makes them look great. And they're going to say, wow, okay, let's get on a call. So for instance, I was in Rachel S. Lee's Eco Traffic System course, and I ended up interviewing Rachel 4 times, twice on my podcast and twice in our groups, one in my group and one in her big 4,000 person group. And that's because I was in her program. I was talking to her live twice a week, and she got to know me. Melissa Ricker is the same thing. I interviewed her twice on my podcast. I was in her program, so when you get into programs with these group owners, they get to know and like and trust you even more. And then you can say, listen, I got this offer, do you mind if I present it to your group? I mean, some groups, it all depends. I mean, if it was a big coaching program, it's difficult because they might say, well, if I let you do a presentation, like a selling a pitch, then I'm going to have to let all my students do that. But if it's just a live free training, like I'm doing now, they might say yes to it. Now, if you're going around, like this week and last week, I've gone around doing presentations. And if you get rejected, don't feel bad. Don't take it negatively. Some people don't answer their messages because they have VAs doing it, or they don't respond. There was a girl in Jamie's inner circle who messaged me back the other day. He said, James, get in touch with me on WhatsApp because Messenger I barely check. I said, okay, no problem. Yeah, we know that these higher end influencers are busy. They don't have time to be checking things on their messages, get in touch with them another way. Leave a post, say I left you a DM. Uh, Instagram, get on Instagram with them, follow them there. I did a good job of staying in touch with Marley Jacks when she went fishing in Alaska with Steve J. Larson and a bunch of other people. And I teased her. I said, "Is this Dream 100?" Because I was commenting on all their videos stuck in the middle of the ocean and the boat stalled. So, yeah, that's another way, just get on the other platforms and get in touch with these group owners and influencers. And then they'll see you more and often. And that's the way it works. Also, I'll tell you another thing about lower tier influencers. Like, for instance, if you did an interview with Dave Woodward, with with Steve J. Larson, you think Russell Brunson wouldn't notice that? Like, he would notice that, and so RJ's done it. I mean, who knows when his interview with Russell going to come up? It's going to come up eventually. I did the same thing last year. I was starting out doing the interviews, and I interviewed Stacia Kennedy, and Stacia was an admin. She has her own program and her own group, but she's also an admin for Rachel's group, and she's good friends with Rachel S. Lee. So then eventually it led me to Rachel's program and joining it, and there's more credibility. It's like, oh, you had a good interview with Stacia. I wouldn't mind doing an interview with you. That sounds great. Sure. Because you've already interviewed people in their circle or people they work with. And that's the key to being, friends with their friends. So step 3, how to reach out to owners to let you do a free training with no pitch, just value. Show owners what you have works together with their group. So reaching out, it's not that difficult. I mean, you can do it different ways. There's text messaging, voice messaging, emails, videos. Like, I've sent a bunch of videos. I think it's more personal. I've been sending voice messages because I think it's more personal than just texting. Better communication reason wise. And it's just, but if they don't get back to you, it's because they're busy. They're usually busy. You could try again. Like, for instance, I booked my call with Dave Woodward in November. And he said, yeah, sure, no problem. The interview didn't take place till March because of all the cancellations, because Dave's a busy man. So it happens. I got a couple callbacks on my messenger the other day saying, "Oh, James, sorry, I missed this. This was a couple days ago, blah, blah, blah." For instance, Catherine Jones, she said in one of her trainings, she doesn't check her messages. She has her assistant do it for her. So, and you can imagine the messages that these people get, on a daily basis. "Oh, can you help me with this? Or you can help me with that? Or can you do a training? Can I do this? Where do I get your link?" So they're bombarded with messages. So don't get discouraged if they don't answer your message. Just try another way. In the group, on their podcast, and their YouTube channel. Like I said, leave comments, and they'll see it eventually. And that's the key. When it comes to reaching out though, like, you show them, you got your Facebook profile page set up. And then if you become friends with them and they're commenting on things, then when they finally go to your page and check you out, let's say, "Oh, that person does chatbots. My entrepreneur group can do that. They could use that kind of service," right? Or, fitness training. I got a bunch of single dads or married dads. They could all use that fitness training. Same thing with quick meal coaches. I was on a call doing a business intensive with someone the other day, and she says, "Well, I do fast meal planning for busy moms." I said, "Oh, okay. Is it entrepreneurial moms?" And she said, "No. Just moms in general." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, you want to get in mom groups? I would say that's one start, right? On Facebook, you search mom groups, stay-at-home moms, blah, blah, all these different mom groups, right? And then also through referral, like our old babysitter, she has a mom's group. It's about 100 people. And I said, "Listen, this would be right up her alley, I think. Let me touch her. Let me touch base with her." And she did. And they're working out a joint venture now. So, and my babysitters doesn't know anything about online marketing. It's going to be her first time, and it's going to benefit everybody in the group. And I'm just glad I was able to hook the two of them together. So, and then when you do your trainings, do trainings in other groups in the same week to build pressure to get noticed. Like, I mean, I'm launching tomorrow, Wednesday, but you don't have to launch something. But if you intensify your trainings schedule, by 1 or 2 weeks, you're doing a training every day or 2 a day, people are going to notice this. James Johnson's doing this. James Johnson's doing that. James Johnson's doing that. Like, people are going to say, can I get on a call with this, like an interview with this person? What's he selling? What's going on here? So it's more about the organic traffic that you're pushing. Right? If you just do an interview once a month, that's not really going to do anything, right? Sure, you have an interview, which is good action, but it's not as progressive. And then after you do interviews with people, you can, like I've done, I post my 8 launch partners for my podcast, and people see those faces and names and are like, wow, can I get on your podcast? That's amazing, right? Like, and when you ask group owners, or not the group, but podcasters, a lot of people are looking for content. They're not usually going to say no. It's just a matter of scheduling. And then if you don't conflict with what they got, like if I'm a funnel builder, I might not talk to another funnel builder regarding building like funnels, like as a service, if I'm a service provider as well. But I might talk to that person about their journey and how they, different things, but they're not going to pitch a providing service that I offer as the same thing, right? But you can still build those relationships, and people will see, listen, this funnel builder, he's got to this point this way. And I'm the group owner, and I'm saying, yeah, that's the way he's done it. So it's still a good interview, right? Now, he may not pitch, but that's fine. You're getting in touch with his fans. He's getting in touch, or she's getting in touch with your fans, your followers, your people, your group members, however you want to say it. And that's what organic traffic is all about. Ask your friends. So as I mentioned earlier, I did an interview, one of my first interviews with Galen Nuttall from Toronto, and I already met him. We were messaging a lot, and a few of my interviews actually were all from people in other groups that I was in touch with a lot, and it made it so much easier, like so much. And then even when I interviewed Doug, I knew him because I was in his program, his beta course for that was like 3 months or something I was in his course for. So he already knew me. Plus I was in his Facebook group. And so I guess I'm sure people in this group know the ClickFunnels community, but Doug Bowden is the fastest. He was the fastest ClickFunnels affiliate to reaching the dream car, 100 affiliates. And then he also grew his group to 6,000 people in 4 months or something like that. So it's, I just want to give a little background on that, because Doug he's an amazing human being. And I know when I did an interview in the past, the person says, well, James, there's not a lot of ClickFunnels people here. They don't know who these people are. Russell Brunson, for instance, he runs ClickFunnels. He's a creator of ClickFunnels and the best web designing software on the planet. And then if you're new to your doing a training, do your training in an open group for your group, or do it in your group for feedback before you go into other people's groups, right? Steve Larson always does that. He usually launches a free training, and he takes the feedback from the group and he makes his offer out of that. Alex Elliott mentioned how before she ever did her first live on her page, she did a live in a closed group. She created a group. It was closed, only her, and she did it all by herself. So because you're nervous, and that's fine. We all nervous, and you want to work out your sales message or your whatever, your slides, whatever, and then you get down, you do it a couple of times and you get used to it. But don't be afraid and to take that action. So the cherry on top is step 4 here. How do you make your offer irresistible? And how do you get group owners to say yes to your offer? Obviously your offer has to be compatible to theirs. But if you went to a Facebook group owner and you said, I have a group of just Facebook group masters, and that's just the people you do joint ventures with, how would you like to be in that group? And you can do collabs with them. You can do interviews, that kind of stuff. A lot of Facebook group owners would love that, because then it's just more traffic, it's more recognition, and then it's just the whole, by the scale of 10, the power of 10, right? When you're doing all that stuff with more influencers, 50% commission, and then you guarantee them a repitch. You say, okay, we'll do the pitch now, and then I'll come back in a month and I'll repitch it. And we'll show people the status of the progress of the people that came through the first time. And then that'll encourage the people that were on the fence the first time to join in the second time. Plus, the second time you might have more people, or the people that missed the first call, and that's even better. All around, everybody gets to see it, and it's just, and it wouldn't be as long as a presentation probably, because you already pitched it once. But getting to show the progress of the students the second time will definitely encourage some of the other students. This is optional, direct deposit right into your bank, because sometimes you have programs that are set up with different increments of money, right? They're going to pay me in 2 payments, 3 payments, 4 payments. So I'm not going to pay you all in one lump sum. I'm going to pay you monthly because these people are paying in monthly. So how does that sound? You could have a monthly payment. I mean, a one lump sum payment if you want. It's totally optional. And then you take the training that you did and you customize it, and you put it in, you tell that group owner, say, listen, you could put this into your funnel. You can put this into your units in your Facebook page. And then you'll make commissions on the back end, like on their thank you page. They're going to go check out this training and they'll make more money. And then the group master referral bonus. So if they refer you to another group owner, you do some sales, or even, I don't know, you pitch it the way you want. If, just to do the presentation is $200, you get 500, 1,000, whatever, depending on the size of the group, depending on their offer, you would know best. Scholarships. Offer the scholarship to the group owner +1. That means they can come into your program, learn what you're teaching. And if they're too busy, like a lot of entrepreneurs are, they're focused on one thing, they could say, okay, I'll get my VA, or I'll get my wife or husband or somebody, my brother, to come in and learn what you got, because what you got is great and it'll go great with my business. But I'm just too busy right now to focus on learning what you got. So then that's when you send in your little brother to learn what you got. And then you make it bonuses, like they're eligible for all the upgrades and the swag and the Christmas presents and all that stuff. Then you trade shows. I'll be on your podcast, you'd be on my podcast, right? At the end, we'll put a call to action, for your program. And group of students. This is what I'm going to be doing in my program. The group of students for more JVs. So the people that would go through my program, there's going to be a group where these Facebook group masters that I do JVs with can now come into this group with the students. And if they think the students have something to offer, then they can do a joint venture with them. So that's, it's huge, because if they come through the program, then they're certified kind of, right? So then these owners would realize that these students are just as worthy. So I just want to, this was huge demonstration to me from Stephen Larson and the One Funnel Away Challenge, where he drew a tier system, something like this. And say you had A, B, C, D, and Iron Man is at the top, right? So these are your tiers of influence. You could be here. You might be here. I don't know. And you do your Dream 100, you get a better, hey, it looks like a cake. You get a better, you put Tony Robbins. You could put Russell Brunson. You could put Dean Graziosi. You could put anybody. The Rock. You could put anybody. The fitness people out there, maybe Tony Horton from the P90X. Anybody you think is at the top of your tier, the top of your influence ladder, right? So when you're doing interviews, say you're starting here, you're interviewing, say you're interviewing RJ, right? For instance, RJ interviewed Stephen Larson, right? So people see you, all the other people in your level, they see you interview RJ, and RJ has all these other influencers, around, right? And they're seeing this, they're seeing you doing interviews with RJ, and they're like, oh wow, he's interviewed RJ. Maybe I'll get on a call with him because or her because he provided good value, you know. And then everyone else in this team, not everybody, but a lot of people will then see that. Same here. All these people will see that, you know, you're interviewing these people on this tier. And then these people are going to keep seeing you. And even these people who've seen RJ will now see you. And you are going to be up here with a big smiley face. Like a story like when I interviewed Stacia Kennedy, and then Rachel Leslie was up here and she's seen me doing the interviews. And it's the same thing. Like when I had my podcast launch, people see me interview James Smiley and Alan Dean. They're like, wow, James, can I get on a call with you? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. You know, a lot of people, there's nothing to lose when doing interviews. But now when you do joint ventures, if you can do a joint venture with someone and that person had a good experience and you brought a lot of good services or products to that person's group, everybody's going to like, people are going to see that and hear that. Then they're going to go, wow, I want some of that. Like it's not just the interview, it's the service you're providing. So, you know, you can do, and like I said, start out with the interviews. Same with your joint ventures. If you have friends on the same tier, and that's one thing I noticed last year was when I bought Spencer Meekum's program because he was doing a joint venture with Catherine Jones in CF Design School. I didn't really care too much for Catherine's CF Design School at the time, but I want Spencer's affiliate program. And I bought it. I got his as a bonus. He threw it in as a bonus. If you buy Catherine's, you get mine for free. I end up finishing Catherine's. I hardly touched Spencer's. But then I seen, like I said, Jamie did a joint venture with Catherine. Jamie Atkinson also did one with Alex Elliott. And Alex Elliott did one with Rachel S. Lee. And like I said, that was the best she's ever had, Rachel. And she had a big group and she was always doing them. So joint ventures are key. And, you know, you can just influence your status so much by doing interviews. But then if you want more traffic to your offers, joint ventures can just blow you up. Like it's just no tomorrow, right? Like for instance, say you did one a week and then each group you got, even if you got 2 sales, that's a small number, right? Just 2 sales. And it was $1,000 course. You just made $1,000, you know, and that's just a small number. And that's just one interview, right? So in a lot of people's goals, I know by looking at different posts is if I made $5,000 a month, I'd be set. Well, there you go. There's 4 or 5 interviews or joint ventures a month. And, you know, and I'm sure you get more than one sale. And then you do go back and do the repitch and you'd get more, you know, you get more that way. So you can start off small, but you don't, and then with the group, joining the groups and giving the value to the groups, that's great. It provides, you know, showing you're the expert. But I mean, there's a lot of groups out there and you're not going to have time to get into all these groups. So if you ask these group owners, listen, I provide this and this is what I'm going to give you. And it costs this, but I'm just going to ask you to present it to your group for free. How many group owners would be into that? I think they would. You know, even if they don't know you're providing a value, and then they see your offer on your profile page. Maybe they click the link and then they see what you got, but you're providing a joint venture with them, which means they get even more. So I think it's really cool. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the comments. And then I'll answer anything you got. You're muted, RJ.
Okay, so yeah, that is absolutely making sense. So one of the things that I've saw that you talked about into the particular training, which was interesting, was asking the group owners to refer you into other group owners out there, and then you provide
Sure.
them the commission. So like, what do you think about that? Like how we go in and ask that, because I believe that, and it's a fact, the messaging is important, the way you ask. So
Yeah.
what do you think about it? How you need to go in and ask to that particular group owner that we have already done JV to refer us to the other person out there?
Yeah. Well, if you did a JV and it turned out okay, you say, listen, this is part of, and also you'd make it part of your offer stack. So they would see that, right? Before you even ask them. And then you could say after the joint venture, you'd wait a little bit, or if you want to ask right away, it depends. But you could just say, listen, I provided this great value, maybe not in that words, but and you say, listen, do you know anybody else that could use this? Set me up with a call or a name, and I can get in touch with that person. And because I would love to provide more value to people, and and that's what we're doing, right? We're making sales, yes, but we're providing value. And when you can do it in a joint venture setting, another thing I didn't touch on there was the joint venture. So you can go into you go in their groups. And if you have a group or even a podcast, they can come onto your show and do the joint venture on your show with their product in mind, right?
Yeah.
So you can do it that way too. But I mean, when it comes to referral, say, listen, I would like you, if you can refer someone to me, if I hook up with an interview with that person, I'll give you $200.
Hmm. Because one of the most interesting part out there that comes up into that aspect, like even though people think about the things are simpler, but the most important thing is how they go in and do the implementation part, like how they make it happen.
Yeah.
Because like for me personally out there, my first official guest was Spencer. Before I got the Spencer on the show, I never thought about I'm gonna get Spencer out there. And when I got him finally on the show, I was like freaking excited. But even though I felt like now I've messed up the interview, after that I never thought about I'm gonna be be in his circle. I never thought about that. But what was the main point was I was constantly providing value to him and his community out there with my content, with me serving into the comment section and everything out there what I can do possibly on my end. And about it, like out of like nowhere, like he went into it, he paid for the Dana Direct call out of nowhere, and it was crazy.
Yep. That's amazing.
And most people were like, we never saw Spencer do that for anyone out there. Like why he did that for you?
He
I'm like,
loves you. He loves you, RJ. That's why.
yeah. So I was like, for me, it was the crazy thing out there. And the second thing, because what I'm doing as of now is whatever you have mentioned, I want to make it more clear to the people out there. Because these things are super important the way that you've mentioned out there. The second thing that you talked about also, like swapping interviews, is also like super important. Like you
Yep.
can, if some people are not, some people don't have their own product out there, but they want to have something. They want to have something. Either they want the people into the group, either they want to get the call to action to their funnel, to their podcast, like something like that. They want to make it happen. So we can simply go in and ask, like, how about if we do the swapping and you come on my show, we come on your show. And with this exact particular thing, like I probably made over $10,000 last year when I was launching. I was on the launch mode of my software, Front Funnel. So I was like on the exact same level. The people who were, I just asked him to do, hey, how about if we swap for the interview? Most people agreed because they wanted to, even though it wasn't a show that I had, but I had a little group and people were like agreeing to do just because an audience is an audience no matter whatever the size is. Some people have like 500 people and they're like super targeted, and some people have 10,000 people and they're like ghost people, ghost members
Yeah.
out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
that played a lot of
that's
role.
just like a story that I just heard from Reem Karbat. She just said that when Brendan Burchard launched his book, he put all his effort into it. And he thought it was all right. It was perfect. And then he didn't get on the New York Times bestseller. He hardly made any sales. And then he realized when he went to write his next book, he did JV launches, right? He got in other people's audience. He got their shows. And that's how his book blew up. And it's so true. If you can get in front of other people's audience, I mean, how many people have launched a funnel and you get crickets, right? Like, because no one hears about it. So that's another thing. Like, I know Steve Larson talks about it, how to build pressure, but if you don't want to do a whole launch campaign, just go in and ask joint ventures with other people, so, and you only need to do a few a month. And, depending on the product price, I mean, you could do it for $47, $97. Doesn't really matter. Right. Sell a masterclass, whatever. Just getting in front of other people's traffic is the key. You can't just always rely on your own organic traffic to make the sales. You might get some, but you can exponentially grow if you get in front of other people's traffic.
Yeah, 100%. And the reason how the JV comes up, like JV is the second step what we do after we do Dream 100. And after we create create connections and everything out there, the next thing is to ask them to do the JV or the product, so that they promote our product out there. And it is absolutely the fact. And I always talk about this particular thing that, for example, if we're doing if we're leveraging other people's audiences, we're saving us a lot of time and money, because not only we're relying on traffic source. I got myself the slap. I went back on Facebook again after getting that Facebook slap out there, which was crazy. Again, we are on Facebook. Who cares? But for that particular aspect, I personally also realized that this thing is super important. I just need to know how to leverage other people's audiences so they can figure out everything for me, and I just need to have a connection with them, which
Hmm.
is which is exact same thing that you're mentioning on that particular aspect out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, last year, before I launched, I went to Melissa Ricker, and because she promotes doing the paid ads as well. And I said, well, I had $1,000. I said, let's do some ads. It was only like a week or two before the launch. I said, listen, I need to get more people in my group. And I just threw the money at the ads. And I don't even like I forget the prices. It was ridiculous what I was paying per lead. And I know another friend of mine, she likes doing paid ads, but at $10 a lead, if you don't have a high ticket program, is it worth it? Right. So, I mean, organic building is huge. Work like Russell talks about in Traffic Secrets, working your way into people's shows, I think is a no brainer. Like paying for ads until you get your message right and your offer right, then pay for ads. But if you
Yeah,
don't, then I wouldn't pay. Like, look at Doug. Doug said the other day on a coaching call, Doug Bowden, that he doesn't even do ads yet. He's thinking about it, but I don't think he set up any ads yet. And his offer is pretty good. But I mean, organic traffic, I think, is the way to go. And it's not as hard as people think.
yeah. And like when we talk about Doug Boughton out there, I think a few days or like probably a week or two back, I saw that he made like 50 to 60 grand a day, which was like insane. And he's not even using as of now the the paid side of ads. He's just leveraging organic and leveraging the JVs and leveraging his own Facebook group as well. And one thing I want to even highlight on this aspect is when when we talk about swapping the interviews and everything out there, I personally prefer you to have either a podcast or a show, okay, because it's gonna create you more credibility out there rather than you say, hey, if I want to interview you on my group, that's it. Okay, your group is freaking awesome. Even if you have like thousands of people out there, it's awesome. But if you say you have a group of this amount of people and you have a show, it's gonna create high more or like end base integrity out there, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
gonna feel more credibility,
Yeah.
and they're
And
gonna
you take
ah,
take your Facebook Live, then put it on your podcast, right? Put
yeah.
it on your YouTube channel, and then it's there forever with a link to it, So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. So, like, where people can, learn and more about the JV and everything that you're providing as of now.
Okay, so tomorrow I'm launching my program, my training, I should say. It's not a program; it's just a 3-day training. Tomorrow, in my Facebook group, Organic Traffic and Funnel Mastery, and there's going to be a podcast link in there later today, and people can catch the podcast in the morning. I'm going to release it at 9, and then I'm going to do a Q&A Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. So if anybody has any questions, and I'll be giving away some prizes, and it's going to be good. I mean, I know my last offer it wasn't as good as I thought it would be, but it was like the engagement was crazy, and people enjoy getting gifts. And at Christmas time, who doesn't enjoy getting gifts, right? So yeah, I mean, that's one thing I look forward to is engaging with people.
Awesome. That absolutely makes sense. So, guys, like I've just put it up the link of the group, the group in the comment section down below, so you can simply go in and check out. And as James said, that the training starting tomorrow. So why not join today? Just go in there. I've also put it up the link in the comment section down below. So just go in there, just join the group and attend the training and get the gifts as well, alongside immense value that you need in order to make sure that those JV side of thing works rather than we're just trying to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we've learned that a lot. Like, I'm sure you've learned it, RJ, that, there's so much books. Like, I've read Russell's books inside and out. I got the audio books. I listen to it all the time. And, as I told Jamie, my coach, the other day on a call, I said, when I start presenting, it just, the stories, everything comes. Like, everything. And then people get stuck in their head. What if I do this? Or how can I do that? And then once you do it, it's good. You're all good, right? Like, I mean, once you start going live and you're used to the camera, then it's just a matter of presenting and you're fine. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on video now for about a year and a half, and I mean, I have no problem with the video. It's just a matter of getting the sales message right. So I think this is a pretty good sales message I got right now.
Absolutely, 100% agree on that particular part. You need to just take that uneasiness, imperfect action out there to make it work. My first interview was with Alex Elliott, probably like last year. Not a good camera, not a good lighting, nothing. There was nothing such like that. But I was like, if I can do it today, like I won't be able to do it. It's like it's never gonna happen then. If I'm gonna just go in and trying to make reasons or objections, something like that, just to make sure that I don't end up on being on camera. But if once I've done that at the very first time, then probably slowly, and then we had the show. So 100%.
Well,
So
speaking of Alex and the one group away, the affiliate. So I had her in my show, my group, and I thought, okay, so I'm going to stream in my group and I'm going to stream on my phone. So people won't be able to see me, but they'll be able to hear Alex. Well, we had technical difficulties for like a half an hour. And a gentleman in my group was a tech genius. He came in, he solved the problem for us. And when it was all done and said, one of the guys that was on the phone, this guy, John, he said, James, I'd like to get your link. And I said, really? Okay. How'd you like the call? He says, well, I never seen Alex's face, but I like the training. I was like, oh, so you watched it from my phone, my personal profile. And he goes, yeah. And I said, oh, because I wasn't in your group, James, so I didn't get access to it. And I said, oh, okay, that was my intention for people to see it, like on my profile as well. And that was before I had StreamYard. So, but I'm just like, that is amazing. That's the power. That was an aha moment, right? Alex is giving this value. I was asking her good questions, and the guy's like, yeah, sign me up. This is good. So, the power of publishing.
Alex is absolutely amazing. I truly remember I didn't knew how to do live even as well. And we've done the live interview from her Zoom account. So yeah, that was pretty crazy things out there that happened throughout the whole time. But yeah, it was 100% worth it. And Alex is 100% amazing.
Yeah,
so
she's an amazing person.
Anything that you want to say before we round this training up?
Don't get stuck in your head. Take action. I know it's a psychological game. We play with ourselves every single day. And it is difficult. Sometimes it is. It's very difficult. You got your job, you got kids, you got your spouse, you got all these things. And then you got yourself telling you things, right? Never mind the friends that are telling you why. One last thing, I was in a real estate investor for 10 years. And after I signed up for the course, it was a Rich Dad, Poor Dad course. And I came home and I told my parents, and it was on the way home from the seminar to my house. I stopped at my parents' house and I told them, I said, I signed up. They knew I read all the Robert Kiyosaki books. And they're like, well, why would you want to change toilets in the middle of the night? And I was like, I never did that. I've had my properties for 10 years and both of them were fourplexes. So that's a lot of toilets. And I never had to change a toilet in the middle of the night. Yes, we had tenant issues. I'm not going to lie, but the money was good. We made some good relationships with some tenants. We had actually one tenant who moved out, called us and said, James, do you guys have a place I need to come move back in? And I said, yeah. How many landlords could say they've had a tenant like that, right? But with all the negative naysayers, why are you buying property? And I said, because it's what I want to do. So if you have a dream, you got to shut off everybody else, put your blinders on and go for it, because it's too much crap out there. And then if it gets into your head along with your own self-thought, it's going to screw you right up. So just take action. Join my challenge tomorrow. And then everything's going to be, I'll give you more value. And then if you want to work with me or if you want to do joint ventures on your own, all the best. It's going to be great no matter what.
Absolutely. So yeah, again, guys, the link is in the description, comment section down below as well. Just go in and join the group out there. I'm already in there. So I'm going to be with James out there, watching him do this type of training out there. We're going to connect over there as well. But yeah, again, James, thank you so much for being on the show. It was like truly awesome to have you and talk about JVs and everything out there. So thank you so much.
Thanks, RJ, for having me. Everybody stay safe and have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, guys, this is it for now. See you in the next week. Until then, peace out.